Hello and welcome to Least Political. This is your host, Annie Murray. You're watching my new show, Least Political, where there's very little politics covered. It's all about the chicanery of our political leaders. Now for some housekeeping. I've been having a ton of fun doing these videos. Shockingly, it's harder than I ever thought. I mean, steep learning curve, the production, the editing, and during the entire process, my rig has been giving me problems, my filming rig. Oh yeah, and the equipment. And my face decided to blow up. Here's some funny pictures of what I've been contending with behind the scenes. What do you think? So unfortunate. That's the story of my life. So unfortunate, especially when it comes to my face. Onwards. On March 30th, 3 Republican rascals of the Judiciary Committee, Jim Jordan, James Comer, and Byron Steele, have been involved in some questionable political shenanigans. They wrote a letter to the Manhattan DA asking him to submit all he has on his Trump investigation before Congress and answer all their questions. This is his investigation, and they just want to know every single thing. I don't know of any DA across the country or prosecutor that has to contend with that. Manhattan DA hasn't even indicted anyone yet, and we don't know exactly what charges are coming, if any. We don't know everything he has, and I don't think we know most of what he has. Yet, let's hear what our three stooges asked for. I'm just pulling out excerpts from the letter they sent DA Bragg. I'm not reading it in its entirety. Dear Mr. Bragg, you are reportedly about to engage in an unprecedented abuse of prosecutorial authority. The indictment of a former president of the United States and current declared candidate for that office. This indictment comes after years of your office searching for a basis, any basis on which to bring charges, ultimately settling on a novel legal theory untested anywhere in the country and one that federal authorities declined to pursue. If these reports are accurate, your actions will erode confidence in the even-handed application of justice and unilaterally interfere in the course of the 2024 presidential election. In light of these serious consequences of your actions, we expect that you will testify about what plainly appears to be a political motivated prosecutorial decision. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let me read you what they asked for, okay? 1, all documents and communications between or among the New York County District Attorney's Office and the Department of Justice, its component entities, or other federal law enforcement agencies referring or relating to your office's investigation of President Donald Trump. That's a lot of stuff. Do you think they're not going to go give it to him? I don't know. 2, all documents and communications sent or received by former employees Carrie Dunn and Mark Pomerantz referring or relating to presidential Trump. And thirdly, all documents and communications referring or relating to the New York County District Attorney's Office's receipt and use of federal funds. Lock her up. Lock her up. I remember that one. Wow! Not asking for much. I'm not sure that these guys would turn around and show everything to Donald Trump. I mean, what are the odds? Exactly. But you guys know these guys are up to no good. I wonder how hard Donald Trump had to beg to get them to send this letter. Jim Jordan appears to be incredibly sycophantic with Donald Trump, rather extreme ways. Do you think Donald Trump has something on Jim Jordan? I have no idea, but it's just creepy. I digress. I can sit here and try to explain to you how improper this is. However, Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg does it better in his reply to our three stooges. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I'm probably cutting that out. My favorite was Larry Fine. Usually I'm not impressed by claims on the internet that such and such owned someone. It's just not my favorite. Usually it's overblown clickbait headlines, but when I read this letter, oh my gosh. It's in completely legal language, very polite and reserved, but the subtext is totally, look you little bitch, get schooled. Not joking. Anyway, on March 23rd, DA Bragg and his office replied with the following letter. Again, as before, with the Jim Jordan, Comer, Steele letter, these are excerpts. In your letter dated March 20th, 2023, hereby referred to as a letter, in contrast, is an unprecedented inquiry into a pending local prosecution. The letter only came after Donald Trump created a false expectation that he would be arrested the next day, and his lawyers reportedly urge you to intervene. Neither fact is a legitimate basis for congressional inquiry. As articulated below, the district attorney is obligated by the federal and state constitutions to protect the independence of state law enforcement functions from federal interference. The letter seeks non-public information about a pending criminal investigation, which is confidential under state law. These confidentiality provisions exist to protect the interests of the various participants in the criminal process, the defendant, the witness, and the members of the grand jury, as well as the integrity of the grand jury proceeding itself. Consistent with these constitutional obligations, the DA's office is cognizant of DOJ's long-standing policy of not providing Congress with non-public information about investigations. With regards to pending federal investigations, quote, Congress seems generally to have been respectful of the need to protect material contained in open criminal investigative files. There is no precedent for Congress attempting to subpoena such material, and even fewer examples of the DOJ actually producing such documents, end quote. The letter's requests are an unlawful incursion into New York's sovereignty. Congress' investigative jurisdiction is derived from and limited by its power to legislate concerning federal materials. The Constitution limits Congress's power of those specifically enumerated, and the 10th Amendment ensures that any unenumerated powers are reserved to the states. Congress is not the appropriate branch to review pending criminal matters. We trust that you appreciate the importance of our federal system, state law enforcement activities, and the critical need to maintain the integrity and independence of state criminal law enforcement from federal interference. While the DA's office will not allow a congressional investigation to impede the exercise of New York's sovereign police power, we simply expect that our office will be treated in a manner consistent with New York's status as a residuary sovereign and joint participant in the governance of the nation. I'm sorry. Boom. Okay. It's more of the same shenanigans from the GOP. We should hold those guys, our leaders, to higher standards than to try to get some guy that commits lots of crime off. Thank you for listening to the crazy stories of our political leaders. As always, like, subscribe, and ring the bell for notifications. Both of you. See ya. Okay, now that the other two people are gone, if you watched until this point, dang, that's a lot of wine. I am going to take a sip of wine and toast you. And I haven't drank wine in a couple months, so I'm very excited. Very excited if anyone sees this, but I'm very excited. So, to you, if I was Donald Trump, it would have been, to you. But I don't do that.